Today we're creating a beautiful painted mandala using our watercolors and a variety of pens. The highlight of this one to me is that beautiful rich red color. So let's get started on it. Now I'm not really good at choosing color combinations, so one thing I've learned to do is look for other sources to establish an initial palette. And this time I went to Design Seeds. Design Seeds is a website that pulls colors from photographs, and I know there's software that can do that, but they usually have such beautiful combinations, and that is where I got the color palette for this mandala. And I got started, and with the watercolors for those deep dark colors, I had to do several layers. For the dark green there, it took 2 layers, and when we get to some of the later colors, there's even 3. And I have to tell you, at this point, I'm feeling kind of lackluster about that. Those grays and greens, they're kind of dull together, in my opinion. So we're going to spice it up and add some more colors in just a little bit. First, we've got the purple, and the purple is another one of those dark colors that took a couple of coats to get it to the right deep color of purple I was looking for. And you can see the center, I've already done that. And when we go around the first time, it's kind of a medium purple, but another coat of paint of the watercolor just makes it look really rich and pretty. And now we're going for, to me this makes me think of cantaloupe. It's a nice melon color, and truthfully I would never have put these colors together, but once this is finished I think it looks fabulous. This one, the lighter colors, only one. Now I'm still learning how to use my watercolors. I kind of wondered if I should have put more pigment and gone for less layers on the darker colors, or if it's just learning to use layers is one of the things I need to learn to do. So but we're getting better every time we try something new, and that's how it goes, right? You practice to get better. And here we go. This is the first layer of that red color, and I was really nervous that I was not going to be able to achieve the brightness I was looking for. But like I said, this particular color, it took 3 applications to get it to be that nice red color that you see there. So after we got our mandala all painted, then I went in with a Sharpie and tried to frame out all of the major sections, and I almost stopped after this step, because when I got finished doing all these outlines, I thought it looked a lot like a piece of stained glass with the dark colored leading between each piece of glass. But I knew I wanted to add some line drawing, so after I looked at it a little bit with just the outlines on it, we dove in and added more detail. So I started in the center with some simple line work, and the dark purple wasn't going to show up any black, so I decided to pull my white pen out and just do a simple dot there. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, and then added similar line work to each of the petals to give those petals some motion and dimension. One of the things I tend to do when I'm doing these drawings is to almost over plan it, and sometimes my kids have to say, Mom, just do that part and then decide the next part. Don't try to decide what goes in every single section all the way through. So that's kind of how this one evolved. I stuck with simple line work for the leaves just to add a few veins, and I used a thicker pen here since I was going to have less lines. And I didn't want to overdraw in this bright color because I love it so much. So we did a kind of a little bit of a spaced out grid, and I used a pretty fine pen to make that happen so you could still see the rich color through the lines easily without it really altering what the color looks like to your eye. The outside, that was the most challenging to me, but I went ahead and did a leaf look in the green and this zigzag around the gray. I wasn't sure about that, but once we're finished, I think it turned out really good. And again, the dark purple, the black doesn't show up very good, so I went with a white pen, and I love this. I think it adds a lot to this section of the drawing to put those white arced lines across each of those purple shapes. And then I went in and added more with a thicker pen to the gray sections. I like the way that turned out. I think it's very graphic looking. I really wasn't sure what to do in that orange color around the petals. Since everything else was straight lines, for a while I thought I needed to stick with the straight lines. But you'll see in a few minutes I decided to go with something different, and I think it kind of breaks it up, so I was really happy about that. So we're going to go with the dark circles around there. And then we're going to come back and use our white pen and just put a smaller dot in the center of those black circles to make it sparkle just a little bit more. And just a little bit more highlighting. Some of those areas were looking a tiny bit flat, so just a tiny bit of white makes all the difference. And we ended up with a beautiful mandala in a fall set of colors. Now YouTube thinks you'd like that video on the left, and I think you'd like to check out the playlist on the right. Thanks so much for joining me today.